Leo, let's just say it plainly. You're going to win if you're ready to say the right thing, believe it, and act like it. Not maybe. Not someday. I mean, there's something shifting in the energy around you right now. If you've been feeling like something big is about to happen but you couldn't quite put your finger on what this is, you've landed here for a reason. And I want you to sit with that for a second. Out of every video on YouTube, every scroll, every second of noise, you're here, listening. That matters. This isn't just another zodiac reading. It's a wake-up call wrapped in alignment. Right now, the sun is lighting up your second house, the one that rules finances, confidence, and how you value yourself. And when Jupiter, the planet of blessings and expansion, is also in play, what you say carries weight. What you believe gains momentum. And what you claim becomes magnetic. So I'm asking you, are you ready to claim your win? If you've ever felt like success was always almost yours, like the job, the payout, the recognition, the prize, it was so close, but just slipped away, then lean in. Because something has changed. The energetic door is open. But here's the thing, energy doesn't wait around. You have to step through it. You have to speak into it. And yes, it really can start with something as simple as what you say when you pick your lottery numbers. But more than that, it's what you believe when you say it. I'm not talking about blind optimism. I'm talking about a shift in intention. A mental contract you sign with the universe quietly, clearly, and powerfully. That's where real miracles begin. So before we go any further, I want you to do something. Take a moment to comment below and write, "I'm ready to receive." That's it. Just those words. Why? Because when you speak it, when you put it in writing, you're not just whispering a wish, you're anchoring a truth. You're aligning your energy with what's already being prepared for you. And thank you truly for being here. Every time you like, share, comment, or simply watch one of our videos here on Eternal Mindfulness, you're not just supporting a channel. You're saying yes to your own journey. You're joining thousands of others who are choosing to live with more intention, more curiosity, and more trust in their own path. So stay with me. Because by the end of this message, you're going to learn not just a ritual, not just a technique, but a mindset shift that could literally change your relationship with wealth, timing, and trust. It's not magic. But it feels magical when it starts to work. And if you're still with me, that already tells me one thing. You're ready. Now let's go deeper. Leo, when the timing is right, everything starts to shift even before you fully understand why. That quiet pull, that gut feeling, that little voice saying, "Now," that's the universe whispering. And in your case, it's doing more than whispering right now. It's pointing a spotlight directly at you, shining through your second house of money, values, and personal worth. The sun is sitting there with intention, and Jupiter, the planet of expansion, is amplifying it like a divine echo. The window you're standing in isn't ordinary. It's cosmic alignment. And it doesn't happen every day. You might have noticed small signs lately. Maybe a conversation about finances came out of nowhere. Maybe someone mentioned an opportunity that made your heart skip. Or perhaps you've been waking up feeling like something is about to click. That's not coincidence. It's resonance. In astrology, we don't just look at the planets as distant orbs, we see them as energetic mirrors. When the sun lights up your second house, it's reflecting your ability to create and attract wealth, to reshape your story around value, especially the value you place on yourself. And this isn't just about career or money in the bank. This is about frequency. In numerology, the energies of 6 and 8, especially in repeated sequences like 888, hold a special vibration. 6 brings balance and harmony. It's the number of giving and receiving, of nurturing what matters most. 8 is about power, abundance, and divine justice. When these numbers start showing up in your life or in the collective vibration of a week, you're being asked to embody the qualities they represent. This week, especially from the 24th to the 28th, carries that pattern. Tuesdays and Fridays are naturally supercharged under this alignment, like energetic shortcuts for setting intentions or making decisions that stick. But even all this astrology, all this numerical insight, it still comes back to one thing: your voice. What you speak into the world right now has power. That's not poetic. It's energetic law. According to the law of attraction, your words act like seeds. Some people scatter them carelessly. But you're being asked to plant them with purpose. What you declare in this window doesn't just float off into space. It begins to shape outcomes. Think of it like programming a GPS. Your emotion is the fuel, but your words are the destination. And that's why what you say when you make a wish, set an intention, or even fill out a lottery ticket isn't silly. It's sacred. It's not about superstition, it's about coherence. When what you want, what you believe, and what you say are all in alignment, the universe responds. It doesn't always respond in the way we expect, but it always responds in the way we're prepared to receive. Color is another layer of this energetic language. You'll notice that during weeks like this, you're naturally drawn to certain shades: gold, deep orange, bold reds. These aren't just aesthetic preferences. They're activators. Gold vibrates with prosperity, orange with momentum and joy, red with courage and life force. Wearing these isn't about fashion. It's about frequency. They remind your nervous system what it feels like to be in abundance. And when your nervous system remembers, it begins to attract circumstances that match. In many ways, this phase of your chart is less about chasing opportunity and more about allowing it to come to you by becoming a match for it. Just like in faith-based teachings where a single verse or prayer spoken with sincerity can calm storms or open doors, your clear, unwavering declaration right now holds that same weight. Speak it. Believe it. Feel it. Then let it work. And if you're wondering why this week, why you suddenly feel more aware, more ready, more in tune than before, it's because you are. You're not the same person you were even a month ago. You've been quietly preparing. Whether you knew it or not, you've been gathering tools, shedding layers, and aligning for this exact moment. So trust it. Stand in it. And speak like you've already received. Because energetically you have. You'd be surprised how many times the real shift doesn't happen when we receive money, but when we allow ourselves to believe we're worthy of it in the first place. That's what this next part is really about. This isn't just a ritual for playing the lottery. It's a quiet conversation between you and the energy that creates outcomes. It's a moment where your intention meets form. Think of it like planting a seed, not because you're desperate for fruit, but because you finally trust the ground beneath your feet. When Leo chooses boldly. But boldness doesn't always mean volume. Sometimes the most powerful declarations are the ones you whisper to yourself in silence, when no one is looking. That's why this process starts with stillness. The kind of stillness that honors the sacredness of what you're asking for. You don't need to announce your plans to the world. Not yet. There's something holy about keeping it between you and the energy you're calling in. Start by taking a breath, grounding your body, and placing your hand over your chest. Then say it softly, clearly, and with presence. I am a magnet for money. I am the winner. I am chosen. You may feel silly at first. But keep saying it. Not because it changes the universe but because it changes you. What we repeat, we become. And when you speak these words with your full emotional weight, your nervous system starts to believe they're already true. Now take your lottery ticket, yes, the physical paper, and flip it over. Write in pencil, I attract financial prosperity. That's not a command. That's a declaration of alignment. It's you acknowledging that abundance isn't something you chase, it's something you prepare for. Below that, write your full name. Don't rush it. Let every letter carry intention. Then fold the ticket gently and place it somewhere special, near a golden candle if you have one, or beside a piece of citron or yellow quartz. Let it rest there for 3 days. That waiting period isn't arbitrary. In energetic practice, 3 days symbolizes a cycle of birth, embodiment, and release. You're not just waiting, you're realigning. Each night before bed, close your eyes and imagine. Picture yourself checking the results and seeing your numbers match. Feel the rush of surprise, the disbelief melting into joy. Picture yourself walking into the bank. Hear the sound of your name being called. Visualize the balance in your account shifting in real time. Then go deeper. Picture yourself handing your mom the keys to her new home. Imagine helping a friend with debt. See yourself building something that lasts. This isn't daydreaming. It's emotional rehearsal. Neuroscience tells us the brain doesn't distinguish between what's vividly imagined and what's lived. You're not faking it, you're getting familiar with it. And familiarity is the first step toward readiness. What you're really doing here is creating an energetic map, one that leads you to a version of life where you no longer question if you deserve to win. That's why this isn't just a piece of paper. It's not just a ticket. It's a symbol. A mirror. A reminder. It's the physical representation of your trust in timing, in worthiness, and in the idea that good things aren't just possible for others, they're possible for you, too. Don't do this out of desperation. Do it out of belief. Do it like someone who knows they're not asking for a miracle, they're preparing for it. And when the result comes, you won't be surprised. You'll simply nod and say, of course. I planted this. Most people don't realize how much their lives are shaped not by what they do, but by what they repeatedly think. You could be doing all the right things on the outside, working hard, showing up, being consistent, but if your inner story still says, I'm not ready, or, it probably won't work for me, then guess what? That story becomes the blueprint. I've seen it over and over again, not in theory, but in the real lives of clients, friends, and yes, even my own. I remember a Leo client from a few years back. She had always loved flowers, dreamed of owning a small shop, but told herself it was just a dream, not something practical. One day, she walked past an empty storefront that had been on the market for months. Something inside her shifted. Instead of saying, "Too expensive," she said, "What if?" That one thought opened a door. Long story short, today, she owns 3 stores. It didn't happen because she knew how. It happened because she allowed herself to believe it might be possible. That belief changed what she noticed, how she showed up, what risks she took, and how the universe responded. That's the thing, your mind isn't just a place for thoughts. It's a tool for manifestation. When you plant a thought with enough repetition and emotion, it begins to grow roots. The tricky part is, the soil doesn't care if the seed is helpful or harmful. It just grows what it's given. So if your thoughts are constantly rooted in fear, self-doubt, or scarcity, that's exactly what you'll see more of. But if you begin gently, consistent plant thoughts of possibility, worthiness, and abundance, things begin to shift in subtle and surprising ways. It's not magic. It's alignment. Your brain is wired to look for patterns, to find proof of what you already believe. That's why affirmations work, not because they trick the universe, but because they recalibrate your attention. When you tell yourself, "I am attracting financial success," your brain starts looking for ways to validate that. You might notice a job opening you would have ignored. You might say yes to a conversation that opens a door. You might take a small risk with big results. Suddenly, life begins to reflect what you've chosen to believe. This is especially important for you, Leo, because your ruling planet, the sun, governs not just your light, but your sense of identity. When you claim something out loud, it carries weight. That's your superpower. And right now, with the sun activating your second house of value and Jupiter expanding the impact, your words are even more charged than usual. What you say to yourself this week could echo for months. So here's what I encourage you to do. Every morning, before the world distracts you, say something kind and powerful about your future. It doesn't have to be long or poetic. Just honest. I am ready to receive. I am building a life that supports me. I'm open to good news. These small declarations plant seeds. And when you repeat them, when you water them with emotion and expectation, you start to notice them growing. If you've been to a place of burnout, discouragement, or even emotional numbness lately, that's okay. You don't have to pretend everything is fine. You just have to be willing to say, maybe things can get better. That one thought sincere, unforeseen enough to begin the process. You're not behind. You're right on time. And this week is not about hustling harder, it's about thinking clearer. Trust that what starts in the mind will eventually show up in the world. That's the power of mental alignment. And you, Leo, are more aligned than you know. Sometimes, the most surprising solutions show up when we stop trying to force clarity and start listening differently. That's exactly what happened when I pulled 3 cards for Leo this week. I wasn't looking for anything grand, just a window, a signal, something subtle. But what came through was loud and specific, like a knock on the inner door you didn't realize had been closed. And I think it's time you opened it. The first card was the Ace of Pentacles. Now, in traditional tarot, this is the seed of financial growth, but let me tell you what it really feels like. Imagine holding a key in your hand, still warm, freshly cut for a lock that hasn't been used in years. You don't know what's behind the door yet, but your fingers already sense the shift. This card shows up when life is trying to hand you a tangible gift, a check in the mail, a call about that job, an investment finally maturing, or yes, even a winning ticket you never saw coming. But here's the catch: the gift only appears when you're grounded enough to recognize it. If you're moving too fast, you'll miss it. If you're doubting yourself, you'll reject it. The ace asks, can you receive without overthinking it? Then came the Ace of Swords. Now, I've learned to respect this card because it doesn't whisper. It cuts. It clears. It says, that thought you had, the one you almost dismissed? That's your golden thread. You know, the one. The idea that flickered during a walk or right before sleep. The concept that made your chest lift for half a second before your brain stepped in and said, that's silly. This card says it's not silly at all. It's the beginning of a new truth. A new financial identity. Sometimes all it takes is that one idea, new service you can offer, a shift in how you speak to clients, a different way to present yourself that completely changes the trajectory of your income. This week, your thoughts are not just thoughts. They're invitations. Accept them. The third card was the Queen of Pentacles. And if the aces are the beginning, she's the embodiment. She doesn't just attract money, she keeps it. She multiplies it. She knows how to turn a windfall into a foundation. But here's what people forget about her: she doesn't hustle from scarcity. She moves from stability. From care. She takes what she has and makes it stretch, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. This card is a reminder that wealth isn't just about what enters your life. It's about what you do with it once it arrives. It's the long game. It's legacy. And Leo, you are being nudged toward building something that lasts. So what does all this mean for you right now? It means the universe isn't just throwing signs at you for entertainment. It's pointing, whispering, calling. These three cards, together, say that a financial shift is already taking form, not later, not next year, but now. But like any mirror, tarot only reflects what you're ready to see. The question is, are you ready to act like it's already yours? Here's something small but powerful you can do. Take a pen and paper and write down 3 things you would do with unexpected money. Not what you should do, but what you truly feel called to do. Maybe it's helping a sibling. Maybe it's paying off that one thing that's been weighing on you. Maybe it's finally signing up for that course or trip you keep putting off. Now take those 3 things, and write this above them: I'm grateful that I now have the resources to do these things. Read it out loud. Not as a wish, but as a quiet statement of truth. That's where it begins. With intention. With choice. With the courage to name the life you're calling in before it knocks on your door. Because when it does, you'll want to recognize it, not question it. And when it does, you'll remember, the cards were right. You were just waiting to believe them. There's something powerful about owning your desire out loud. Not just thinking it. Not just daydreaming in silence. But declaring it like it belongs to you even before the world sees any proof. And if there's one sign in the zodiac built for that kind of declaration, it's Leo. You're not just any sign. You're the one ruled by the sun. You carry the energy of leadership, of light, of presence. But here's the catch, even the brightest light can flicker when self-worth is shaky. Even kings and queens hesitate at the edge of a throne when deep down they wonder, am I really the one? This is your reminder that yes, you are. Not because you're better than anyone else, but because you've been through enough to finally realize you don't have to shrink. You don't have to downplay your vision. You don't have to apologize for wanting more, especially when more means freedom, stability, and the ability to give back. There's a difference between arrogance and worthiness. One pushes people away. The other pulls destiny closer. What we're talking about here is worthiness. And it begins the moment you decide you are no longer waiting for permission to claim what already belongs to you. In astrology, Leo governs the heart. So when you speak your truth, it doesn't come from ego, it comes from a place much deeper. And when you pair that heart-centered fire with conviction, the world responds. You become a beacon. That's why now, more than ever, you're being called to say it clearly, I deserve to win. Not as a joke. Not in passing. But as a daily rhythm. A new language your nervous system gets used to. Because the truth is, the universe already sees you as worthy. But it needs you to see it too. There's a reason I asked you to write it down. I attract financial abundance. I am ready to receive. Not because your words magically force money to appear, but because written words are contracts between your inner world and your future. They signal readiness. They anchor belief. And belief is what unlocks momentum. When you write it, when you speak it, when you feel idiory, no longer chasing luck. You're preparing for it. So I'll ask you now, what would you do if it actually happened? If the money showed up, if the door opened, if the prize was placed in your hand, what would you do with it? Not hypothetically. Realistically. Emotionally. Practically. Would you pay off that one debt that keeps you up at night? Would you finally get your family out of the apartment and into a real home? Would you launch the business that's been sitting in your heart for years? Would you travel, breathe, rest, and begin again? Don't just think about it. Write it. Share it. Comment below with what you don't, claim it as if it's already happening. That's not wishful thinking. That's alignment. That's what it means to live in your Leo energy, not just hoping for the light, but being the light that shines so clearly, it pulls your future into the present. You don't need to convince anyone else. You just need to stop doubting yourself. Say it. Declare it. And then live like someone who has already been chosen, because you have. You wouldn't still be here, reading this, feeling the weight of these words in your chest, if it wasn't true. So take a breath. Close your eyes if you need to. And say it out loud, I am worthy. I am ready. I am the winner. Now go write it down. Let your future see you showing up. Let the energy around you know that you're not just hoping and welcoming it. If you've made it this far, then something inside you already knows you are not just a bystander in your life. You are the writer, the voice, the decision maker. The universe isn't waiting to randomly drop fortune into your lap. It's been waiting for you to decide that you're ready to receive. And perhaps, this video, this exact moment, is the reflection of that decision stirring awake inside you. The truth is, the lottery doesn't choose winners out of nowhere. You chose yourself long before the numbers were drawn. You chose to believe in timing, in alignment, in possibility. That's not naive, that's powerful. And maybe for the first time in a long time, you're letting yourself believe that things really can change, that what's been delayed isn't denied, and that what you desire isn't selfish, it's sacred. You don't have to take massive leaps. Sometimes the most life-changing shift begins with a quiet inner yes. A simple ritual done with belief. A sentence written with faith. A vision spoken into the air like it already exists. If you've been following along, you now know the steps. But more importantly, you felt something, even if just a spark. Now the question becomes, what will you do with that spark? Will you keep it to yourself? Or will you nurture it, speak life into it, and allow it to grow? Let's anchor that spark right now. Take a breath, feel into your body, and leave a comment below declaring what you're ready to receive. Not tomorrow. Not someday. But now. Go ahead and write it. I am worthy. I am ready. I have already won. And then tell me, what will you do with your abundance when it comes? Who will you help? What will you heal? How will your life expand once you finally stop holding back? Your words matter here, not just to me, but to the entire Eternal Mindfulness community. Every comment, every like, every shared reflection builds a field of intention around this space, and you're a part of it. So thank you. Truly. Thank you for showing up, for believing, for trusting the tug that brought you here. Whether you comment, subscribe, or simply take this message into your day quietly, know that your presence fuels the work we do here, and we're honored to walk this path with you. And if this message stirred something in you, even just a little, don't let it pass by unnoticed. Like this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share it with someone who needs that little spark of belief today. You never know what a single action might set in motion. Because Leo, you weren't just born to wait for miracles. You were born to embody them. And this moment, your moment, is just the beginning.